So today I'm here with a pretty big manga haul. So I got a package today from Kinokuniya and then from Alibris. Over the last couple weeks, I picked up an entire series, so I'll share that today as well. And then in addition to those, I have some pre-orders and back orders that have arrived over the past couple weeks. So I'll go ahead and share those ones before I cut into this new box. So I'll start with some shoujo pre-orders that I got from Barnes & Noble. So first, in the clear Moonlit Dusk. So this is volume 1 from a newly licensed series by Mika Yamamori. And I do really like this mangaka. I have 2 of her other series, Daytime Shooting Star and Tsubakicho Lonely Planet. So I was really excited when I found out this was going to be getting printed in English. And I was really excited to add it to my collection. So this is a high school romance that follows these 2. They're both nicknamed the princes of the school, even though they're in different grades, but for different reasons. So this is a girl who is really beautiful, but she has very masculine features. She's tall and slender, and she's always doing really kind and chivalrous things, so she got her nickname the prince that way. Whereas this guy is kind of known as a playboy and comes from a family with money, so that's how he was given the nickname Prince as well. So the story follows them and how they interact with each other. And it's really cute because they're both so different. They have different personalities. And our main girl, while she's kind of aloof and kind of inexperienced, she also has moments that she's very bold and moments that she really just kind of acts like a girl in love. So I'm excited to have this one. One of the things that's a little frustrating, though, is that this one was licensed and printed by Kodansha, so it is the bigger size volume compared to the mangaka's 2 other series. So Daytime Shooting Star was printed by Viz and Tsubakicho Lonely Planet by Yen Press. So those 2 are the smaller, shorter sizes. So I was really hoping that this would be a shorter size so that I could put them all together and they would align on my shelf, but I'm going to have to figure out a different way to display these together because I really like all of her series. So I'm just happy that they got printed in English though. So happy to have this one. Next is Rainbow Days. So this is another newly licensed series. Volume 1 just came out early in December. And I do really like this series. It follows these 4 boys in high school. They're a really interesting group of friends because they're all very different. They have very different personalities and interests, but somehow they all get along together. And the story follows kind of their friendship as well as all of them as they have girls that they're interested in and pursue their romantic interests. But this one's also kind of interesting because it follows mainly from the perspective of all the boys, rather than a lot of shoujo high school romance series that follow the female character. But this is also a series that has an anime. So if you're not sure if this is going to be a series that you want to pick up physically, you could definitely check out the anime to see if it's something that you'd like. But this is one that I read some time ago and really enjoyed. And before I realized that it had been picked up and was going to be printed by Viz, I did actually order the final volume 16 in Japanese, just because I really like these boys and I wanted to have it in my collection somehow. So I'm really excited to have this in English and to be able to read through it. So both of these newer series, I will be planning to pick them up as they release. And this one is completed at 16 volumes, and that one is ongoing. The next new release is Snow White with the Red Hair, Volume 22. So this is a series that I'm currently reading through right now. I have just recently picked up the whole series. So I do have volumes 1 to 22 now, and I'm almost halfway through my read of this series, and I'm really enjoying it. I watched the anime for this series before starting to read any of this, and I really enjoyed it, so I've been really looking forward to reading this past the content that was in the anime and finding out what else happens in this story. But this story follows a girl with red hair. Even though it's called Snow White with the Red Hair, it does not have like a typical fairy tale princess kind of vibe when you're reading it. It's all about a girl who is interested in medicine, and she makes a lot of bold choices right from the start of the series so that she can pursue the things that she's interested in rather than having her life decided by the people around her. So she's from one kingdom, and the prince there wants to take her as a concubine because he's interested in her red hair. He thinks that's something unique and interesting, but she doesn't want that kind of life, so she leaves her kingdom and goes to the neighboring kingdom and meets a bunch of people there, and it's just a really feel-good kind of story. I really like all the characters, and one of the things that I really like in this series is the art style, especially the design of all the clothing throughout the series, because I wouldn't say that this is historical, but I guess it kind of is because they don't have the modern conveniences. It's not like a modern day, but I guess kind of similar to Yona of the Dawn kind of setting. But I do really like the way that all the clothing is designed. The art style is just really pretty, and I love the way that the characters look as well. But so hopefully within the next couple weeks, I'll be reading this volume as well. Okay, next I have Yona of the Dawn. So these are the last 5 volumes I was waiting for, and now I have volumes 1 to 37. I'm so glad that these were all reprinted so that I didn't have to go on some expensive hunt for all of these used. So I'm just really excited to have all of these now. My husband is currently reading through the series, and I'm caught up with the latest chapter releases, but probably sometime next year I will go back to the beginning and do a reread through the whole series. So Yona of the Dawn is a shoujo series that I really like. It follows this main girl here, Yona, who is a princess who has to leave the castle because of a tragic event that happens in the first volume. And it is considered a fantasy genre, and while there isn't a lot of like magic things happening, there are 4 characters who have special abilities, and she meets them along the way. This is a good cover to show kind of different themes in the series. So while there is romance and it is considered fantasy, there are also some battle scenes, some political things that happen, and it's really interesting. To be honest, Yona was a character that I actually wasn't that crazy about when starting the series. I did watch the anime before reading the manga, and she just was kind of an unlikable character just because she was spoiled, she was kind of whiny, but as the series goes on, she really grows as a person and has really good character development. But I kind of can't believe that I have all of the volumes now, so I am really excited about that. I feel like all my haul videos for the past couple months, I've had Yona volumes here and there because they were just kind of slowly trickling in as they were being reprinted and restocked. So I am really happy to finally have all of them now. So I will just be continuing to collect them now as the new volumes are released. So now I have a couple shounen volumes. So I have The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, Volume 10. So this one is complete in Japan, but it has 2 more volumes that haven't been released yet in English. I got this one from Books A Million during their 3 for 2 sale. Buy 2, get 1 free. I do have volume 11 on pre-order as well. And I still need to get volume 12 pre-ordered. But I'm excited to get those last 2 volumes before I read through this. The Legend of Zelda is my husband's favorite video game franchise, and Twilight Princess is one of his favorite games. So he was really excited to get this series. And compared to all the other Legend of Zelda manga series, this is the one that I liked the art style the most. So even though this one is more for him than it is for me, it is one that I'm looking forward to reading once we have more of the volumes. And in the last couple weeks, I also have gotten Tokyo Revengers Omnibus 3, which is volumes 5 and 6. So this is only the 3rd one, but I'm still just super excited every time I get a new omnibus. I really like this series. And then because it's a 2-in-1 omnibus, the volume that is not featured as the cover has a colored page right on the first page. So the series follows this guy, Takamichi, who in the first volume is sent back in time. He starts out in his mid to late 20s and is sent back to his middle school days after a tragic event happens, and he goes back to see if he can change things. But another one of the main characters is this guy here, Mikey, who is the leader of a gang that Takamichi is trying to infiltrate to try to figure out why things happen the way that they happened and to see if he can make an impact to improve things in the future. So this series did just end in November with 31 volumes, so I'm really curious to see what 7 Seas is going to do for that final omnibus volume, because there are extra chapters that are coming out past the final chapter. So I'm really, really hoping that those extra chapters will be combined with the final chapter or with the final volume and printed together as an omnibus so that the final 16th omnibus won't be a skinny one after getting all of the 2-in-1s. But I guess we'll find out as more of the omnibuses are released. But I'm just so happy that this series is being printed in English and I'm able to go through and read it. But another thing that's cool with these omnibus volumes is the back pages. They have the cover of each of the volumes. But in Japan, under the desk jacket, each volume has a different illustration for the cover. And so we get to see those as well, which is really nice so that we don't miss out on that extra artwork. And then this one had a few extra, I don't want to show any spoilers, but This omnibus did have some extra color illustrations throughout, so not just the first color page, but then also a couple others. So again, I'm just really excited about this because this is a series that I really like. Tokyo Revengers. Okay, and before I get into these other volumes and open up this new order, I did get a couple of prints last week that I wanted to share. So there's an artist on Instagram that I follow, EMW. This is all of their contact information and social media. But they opened their shop for Black Friday, and there were a few illustrations of theirs that I really wanted to get. So I got 3 prints that are all from the series Attack on Titan. And I absolutely love them. So these are all some of my favorite characters. I really love these kind of fashion illustrations of them with really unique clothing and really edgy fashion. They all look like they're on the runway. And it's just perfect with the trios that they're in. So we have Connie, Sasha, and Jean. I just love their outfits. Then we have Aaron, Mikasa, and Armin. Again, with just really stylish and edgy outfits. I just love all the detail, their facial expressions. And I didn't notice until it was brought to my attention, but Mikasa still has her red scarf on. And then this last one, we have Erwin, Levi, and Hanji. And again, just all that detail. And one of the things I really liked with these illustrations too is that while they're all just super stylish, they each kind of have their own type of fashion where they kind of match each other, but then their look is different from them, who all kind of match each other as well, and so forth. There were a few other prints in this style from Attack on Titan that EMW had for sale. There was a trio of Rainier, Bertolt, and Annie, and then an illustration with just Krista and Umir, and then one of Porco by himself. But these were the 3 that I was most interested in getting. If there had been one of Rainier with Porco and Zeke, I would have gotten that one as well, but these were the main ones that I wanted. So I was super happy when I went to her print shop and they were all available and hadn't sold out yet. But I'm really excited once I get my shelves kind of organized. I'm going to have to reorganize them because I don't really have room on my Attack on Titan shelf for putting any more things on display. But I am planning on doing a little mini shelf reorganization to be able to kind of fit everything a little better. But also, I've noticed with the first set of prints that I bought a few months ago, that when I just kind of display them leaning up against something, they start to like bend and warp a little bit. So I did pick up some little acrylic frames that they can just slide into so that they will stay up and have a little bit of protection. So I'm going to mess around with those a little bit and kind of see what works so that I can have the prints that I want on display and not worry about them getting damaged at all. But I really like these ones. I'm so happy to have them. And I am pretty new to buying prints. And I'm going to try not to just buy every print I like, because then I will just have too many and I won't have space to display them all. But I'm really, really happy with these ones and I really like them. I'm glad I was able to get them. Next I have a series that I've been gradually getting the volumes in that I ordered from Alibris. And it's for the series My Little Monster, volumes 1 to 13. So this is a shoujo high school romance series that follows these two. It basically is about a girl who is really smart and really focused on school and her education and her encounter with a guy who has a pretty bad reputation, who is a delinquent, and it starts out with her being asked to deliver some papers to him because he has been staying home from school after getting into trouble and then just didn't come back to school. So this is a series that I had watched the anime and really enjoyed, and I've only read a little bit of it online. So this is one that has been on my TBR for quite a while. And now that I have it, I'm finally going to get around to reading it. So I'll show a little bit of the art style and then I'll show all the covers. So some of the characters. And this is the same mangaka that did Our Precious Conversations. So I do know that I like their art style. And I'm really curious to see where the story is going to go after the first couple volumes, because I think that it's just the first maybe 4 volumes that are covered by the anime, and there are 13 volumes, so. But the main guy is really funny. He has a really interesting personality. But yeah, I'm excited to read this one. I do like stories that have delinquent characters in them, so that is something I'm looking forward to as well. Volume 2. So this was printed by Kodansha. And they are the smaller size Kodansha volumes. Which I don't mind. One thing that is a little odd though And I don't think it's just my copies, because I've noticed this at bookstores too when I've seen these volumes there. So that even though the volumes are like white or off-white, I don't know if you can tell, but there are definitely some covers and spines that are like super white, and then some that are more like yellow, just like off-white. And I don't know if that was the case even when they were new, or if it's just been as they're stored, some of them have gotten more yellow and some are more white. I'm not really sure. But I don't believe I've met all the characters either. Only the ones who are in the anime. So I am looking forward to getting into it. I do still have a few other series that are a bit higher on my TBR than this one, so I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to get to reading this, but I am looking forward to it. And one thing that's pretty cool, I noticed as soon as I got these that the volume 13 is quite a bit thicker than the rest of them. And so I wondered if there was just more content or what, but it turns out not sure how much of this is extra. I don't want to flip through and look too much because this is the end of the story, but we have some character profiles. So kind of just an extra that was included with the final volume. Which I don't know if in Japan this was, and then maybe a bonus chapter, but I don't know if this was included with the final volume in Japan, or if Kodansha just included it with our English one. So that was pretty cool. I'm excited. I don't want to look into it too much, though, until I actually read through, so that I don't accidentally spoil myself on the ending. And then one of the reasons why I did decide to get this series, and I am planning on reading it soon, is because last month when I received my buy order, one of the items that I had ordered from Japan was the My Little Monster art book. So I didn't actually share it in that haul video because when I got it, I was thinking I was gonna just turn around and resell it because it must have been owned by a smoker and I did buy it used. Because when I pulled it out of the envelope from Bai, it just smelled like cigarette smoke, and I really don't like that smell. And so I just kind of set it aside in a different room, and every day, if I could remember every day or maybe every couple days, I would just take it and fan the pages and sometimes leave it open on different pages to try to air it out a bit. Because this is such a nice art book. It's hardcover. And this copy that I got is in really good condition. Like a lot of the listings that I had seen, the dust jacket was ripped, or there was a lot of damage to the corners from it being dropped or mishandled. But this one was in super good condition, other than the fact that it smelled like smoke. But fortunately, I was mostly able to kind of air it out. I think I'm still not ready to put it in my bookcase with my art books, though. I am going to continue airing it out, but it just smells so much better now. I'm just so relieved, but it's a super bright and colorful book, as you can see from the cover, which kind of matches with all of the covers of the manga volumes in the spine. But I'll just do a little quickie flip through of this. But yeah, it is a hardcover. And I'm just so happy that this one is in good condition. I did take the dust jacket off and give it a good wipe down. I wiped down the cover as well. And then, like I said, I just have been fanning it to... These are illustrations here as well. But I've just been kind of fanning it to and leaving it open to try to get some of the smoke smell off. So... But I won't flip through the whole thing right now, just kind of to show some of the illustrations and the art style. But this is one that I was thinking I wanted to get because I found it for a good deal. But even though I hadn't read the manga yet, I was thinking if I don't like the manga as much as I hope I will or as much as I thought I would, I'd still want this art book because I do really like the anime for this series. So that would make it worth it for me anyways. But so I'm so happy that most of the smoke smell is gone. Here we have some of the title or some of the manga cover illustrations. But a lot of looks like original illustrations. Yeah, so I'm really excited to have this one. Since I've been flipping through it like every couple days, I just keep seeing all of these colorful, fun illustrations, and it's just really making me excited to read it, the series. So happy that I'm going to be able to keep this one and finally share it with you guys. So let me move this stuff over and I'll get into this last box to open up. Okay, so this last package I got from Kinokuniya, and I ordered a couple heavy things because I wanted to see how Kinokuniya would do with packaging and delivering them, but I'm a little nervous because I don't know if you can see, but looks like it might have been dropped or something, and there's some marks where there was some impact, so we'll see how everything's doing inside once I get it open. So this might not seem like a big deal, but I like when they put the little extra cardboard here so that you don't accidentally slice through a book when you're opening the packages. Okay, so as you saw, I just went ahead and unwrapped this so that I could just go ahead and get right into it. So the next one that I got was Yakuza Fiance or Raisei Watanangai. And I got this one from Kinokuniya because it came with a shikashi board. I'm so excited about this. So if you don't know anything about this series, it might seem kind of weird that he's holding an axe and just what this illustration might mean, but as you can see from the title, it has to do with Yakuza. So it follows these two who are both grandchildren of Yakuza group heads. So his family is in Tokyo and her family is in Osaka. So when the story starts out, they're both still in high school, but their families are interested in marrying these two so that they can kind of have peace between their groups and unite two groups that are pretty strong across the country. But I'll go ahead and try to give a good view if you want to pause and read the description on the back, but basically our main girl moves to Tokyo to get to know this guy better, and he really is not the way he seems. He acts super friendly, but it seems like it's all just kind of a front, and turns out it is, and he's kind of a wild and crazy guy. But I really love our main female character. She has a really bold personality despite having been raised with a lot of love by those in her group. She was really kind of spoiled by them, and now she's kind of figuring out that she needs to toughen up a bit to take care of herself in this new place that she's living. But it looks like the cover is a little bit glossy on the characters and the title and the flowers, and then it's more matte where it's white. But I was really curious if this was going to be some kind of, not special edition, but just if it was going to have anything special about it, because this single volume was $15. But for me, it's worth paying the price for it because this is a series that I like. I have already read into volume 7, and it is a story that I like. It probably isn't going to be for everyone. This is a seinen drama series that, despite this picture, is not super romance focused, but it is one that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Since this is volume 1, I'll show some of the art style. So it looks like we do get a few color pages, so that's nice. I'm super excited to have this in English. I'm really excited to read this. But another reason I was willing to pay a higher price for this series and the upcoming volumes as well is I kind of told myself, even though the Kinokuniya copy that came with the Shikushi board was not a different price from just the regular copies, I just told myself the difference that I'm paying for this volume compared to any other volume, I'll just make up for it imagining that I'm buying this at that price difference. So yeah, so I'm really excited to get into this one. It's been a while since I read the beginning of this series, so I'm probably going to read this weekend. And I really hope that we keep seeing either Shikushi boards like this or just prints or extras being released with English manga. And I really want to support this series when they're doing those kind of specials so that they'll keep doing them. But then the other items that I had in that Kinokuniya order were these last 2 volumes of Attack on Titan, the Colossal editions. So the 3rd Colossal edition and the 7th, which is the final one for this series. And surprisingly, I mean, I guess this one does seem a bit thinner, but these are 5-in-1 omnibus volumes. And this last volume only has 4 volumes, 31 to 34. But it still almost looks just as thick as the others. But since these are kind of like volumes in the middle and end of the series, I don't want to flip through and show any spoilers, but there are some extras that I saw in someone else's haul video of this final Colossal edition. So I'm going to find those real quick. I'm super, super excited about the anime coming out next year. And I am planning on, these were the last 2 of the 7 that I was missing. So I am planning in January and February to read through the whole series. I haven't read through it. I only watched the anime and then I read the final 3 or 4 volumes. But I'm planning before the last season of the anime comes out to read through the whole manga. But in this final Colossal edition, after the pages showing the covers for the singles, we have some colored pages showing some of the different art from the other covers, but then also some of the art that wasn't, the illustrations that weren't chosen of some of the other Titans. It's super interesting. We see some of the concepts for them. These are super cool. I still think this one is my favorite cover. I think that's really nice that they included these. But I'm happy with the ones that they chose. But yeah, so this is the 7th Attack on Titan Colossal Edition and the 3rd. And I forgot to check, but it seems like this one is in great condition. This one is brand new. It just came out. So this one looks like it did get banged up a little bit, but it's okay. Pretty happy with it. So I did get these at a discounted price, and I probably could have gotten them even cheaper if I had ordered them from Alibris or Right Stuff Anime, but some of the Colossal editions that I got from Alibris did not show up in the best condition, and then I've had a bad experience with Right Stuff as well, ordering heavier items. So I wanted to try ordering them from Kinokuniya because they've always done a really fantastic job with their packaging and shipping, so I am happy with these. It did look like my box had gotten dropped, but I guess that's just something that you take the risk of when you order online, but ultimately I'm happy with it, and it looks like it came in pretty good. Well, this one's perfect condition, but this one's pretty good as well. But this is everything for the last several weeks. So the end of November and halfway through December, what I've gotten so far, a lot of pre-orders, a few back orders, and a few other miscellaneous things that I wanted to pick up. But really excited to have all of these now. And if you've gotten any of these same pre-orders in the past couple weeks, let me know in the comments what you think of them. Since getting some of these pre-orders, I have already read a few of them. So I will talk about them in more detail in my December reading log video. But these new ones I am really excited to read this weekend and next month sometime. But I'm probably going to be doing a little bit of organization on my shelves, so I'll think about how I want to organize everything and try to get it filmed so that I can share that process and the final look of how it turns out. But thanks for sticking around as I went through all these new volumes that I've just gotten the past couple weeks, and I'll see you again soon in another video. Thanks for watching.